Champions League 2024-25 brings yet another thrilling round of action. A match day packed with emotions, where European giants flexed their muscles, intense battles unfolded down to the wire, and shocking twists took everyone by surprise. If you've ever tuned into my show Crazy Scenarios in the Champions League, you'd know this tournament never fails to deliver the unexpected. But that's football. Let's break down the key moments right now. Bayern Munich vs. Inter Milan, a script no one saw coming. Coming into the match, everyone knew Inter would be a tough opponent, even if they weren't quite the force they were a season or two ago. But no one predicted them marching into the Allianz Arena and pulling off a win in such dramatic fashion. Bayern started strong, creating a flurry of chances early on, but Harry Kane had a night to forget, missing at least two clear-cut opportunities, including a shot that rattled the post in the 26th minute. On the other side, Inter were deadly with their limited chances. In the 38th minute, Mkhitaryan delivered a slick backheel to Lautaro Martinez, who fired home with the outside of his boot to break the deadlock. It looked like Bayern had salvaged it when Thomas Muller came off the bench to equalize in the 85th minute. But just 3 minutes later, Inter delivered the knockout punch. Carlos Augusto whipped in a pinpoint cross, and Davide Fratesi tapped it in from close range to seal a 2-1 victory. The result didn't just snap Bayern's 22-game unbeaten home run in the Champions League, it gave Inter a massive edge heading into the return leg at the San Siro. Inter's strength lies not just in tactics but in composure and experience. They absorbed pressure for an entire half, but every time they surged forward, it counted. Lautaro's opener says it all. Sommer held the ball for 13 seconds, luring Bayern's line upfield, then sparked a textbook combination involving Bastoni, Carlos Augusto, and Thuram, capped by Lautaro's clinical finish. That wasn't luck. That was the result of meticulous preparation on the training ground. Bayern, meanwhile, showed some real cracks. The gaps between their lines were too wide, leaving Olise isolated and forced to take matters into his own hands without much support. Kim got pulled out of position, Goretzka lost control of midfield, and despite 62% possession, Bayern rarely threatened through the middle. Olise did his part with 3 key passes, but he alone couldn't drag Bayern out of Inter's well-laid trap. Guerreiro was pushed into a no-10 role instead of Musiala, a move that reeked of desperation. Gnabry too lacked decisiveness against Inter's disciplined backline. If Bayern want to regroup, they'll need to make some bold personnel changes. And don't forget, Inter have conceded just 3 goals in 11 Champions League matches this season. That return leg in Milan will be no walk in the park. It'll be a true test of stamina, tactics, and mental toughness. Inter aren't just stronger, they're more dangerous. They've been knocked out by Atletico for poor finishing and narrowly lost to Man City in a dead-even final. But this year, they're colder, tighter, and more lethal than ever. If Arsenal, PSG, or Barcelona are being mentioned as favorites, it's time they start watching out for Inter. This is a team that knows how to survive anything, and in the Champions League, you need that one side ready to strike when it matters most. Right now, that side is Inter. Barcelona vs. Borussia Dortmund, Yamal steps up. After dispatching Napoli in the round of 16, Barcelona continued their Champions League journey with a home clash against Borussia Dortmund. Despite their struggles in the Bundesliga, Dortmund always seemed to find another gear under the European lights. Ahead of the match, Lamine Yamal posted a photo with the caption, "On the radar, on the mission," and as always when Yamal talks before a game, he backs it up on the pitch. Barcelona took just 25 minutes to break the deadlock with a well-orchestrated attack. Fermín López delivered a pinpoint cross, João Felix provided a slick touch, and Rafinha finished from close range. Dortmund tried to respond, but their best chance, a strike from Julian Brandt in stoppage time, sailed just wide. Early in the second half, Barca doubled their lead. Rafinha was involved again, this time providing the assist for Robert Lewandowski to head home. In the 66th minute, Fermín López again sparked the move, leading to Lewandowski's second, a composed finish to complete his brace. And in the 78th minute, the trio of Rafinha, Lewandowski, and Yamal combined beautifully, with the Spanish wonderkid coolly slotting home across goal to make it 4-0. In the 89th minute, Dortmund thought they had a consolation goal, but VAR intervened and called it back for offside. The match ended in dominant fashion for Barcelona, who now have one foot firmly planted in the Champions League semi-finals. Xavi's squad didn't just win, they suffocated their opponent with a performance that was both emotionally charged and tactically sound. With an XG expected goals of 3.74 and 60% possession, Barca showed just how much they've matured in big games. Something that's haunted them in the post-Messi era. Rafinha continues to prove his worth, now involved in 19 goal-creating sequences in this year's Champions League, matching Lionel Messi's tally from the 2011-12 campaign. Lewandowski is right there with him, reaching the 40-goal mark at age 36. And then there's Lamine Yamal, the glue of one of Europe's most dangerous attacking trios. The golden boy of Barcelona left his mark yet again with a vital goal in this commanding win. With this result, Barcelona are now just one step from the semi-finals, and as the rest of the bracket begins to take shape, if Inter's win over Bayern counts as a mild surprise, up top, we may be witnessing one of the most jaw-dropping storylines yet. Before their clash with Real Madrid, data from Opta Analyst gave Arsenal a 41.7% chance of winning, while the visitors were given just a 31.1% chance, with the rest leaning toward a draw. But not everyone buys into the numbers. Across social media platforms, many fans were quick to write off Arsenal, mostly pointing to the glaring gap in Champions League titles between the two sides. On top of that, Arsenal's fading hopes in the Premier League left some doubting their motivation, but once the whistle blew, all of that changed. The first half at the Emirates was tightly contested, with both teams exchanging blows, but after the break, Arsenal kicked into high gear and turned up the pressure. In the 58th minute, Declan Rice curled in a stunning free kick, bending it over the Madrid wall to break the deadlock. Just 12 minutes later, he doubled the lead with another jaw-dropping set piece, this one even more spectacular. Cameras immediately cut to Roberto Carlos in the stands, as if calling for the Brazilian legend's expert take. And Arsenal weren't done yet. Just 5 minutes later, Mikel Merino, playing as a makeshift striker, pounced on a loose ball in the box and slotted it home to make it 3-0, plunging Real Madrid into a full-blown nightmare. The Gunners were dominant, recording 12 shots, 11 of which were on target. In contrast, Madrid managed just 3 shots on target from 9 total attempts. Declan Rice was the star with his 2 sensational free kicks, but Thomas Partey deserves massive credit for completely shutting down Madrid's midfield. Leandro Trossard played like a warrior in the chaos of the Champions League. And Mourinho, despite not being a natural striker, put the final nail in Madrid's coffin. On the other side, Jude Bellingham was a shadow of himself, dropping too deep and losing his usual edge. Eduardo Camavinga lacked tactical discipline and let his emotions get the better of him, ending the night with a costly red card. Vinicius Jr. was locked down completely by Timber, offering nothing of note in attack, a disastrous outing. Arsenal's backline, led by Saliba and Kiwior, stood tall, winning duels and neutralizing Madrid's attacking threats with authority. Mikel Arteta didn't just outmaneuver Carlo Ancelotti tactically. He controlled the tempo and emotion of the match. This wasn't a lucky win. This was a cold, clinical, and battle-ready Arsenal, ready to contend for Europe's biggest prize. That said, Real Madrid's campaign isn't over yet. They returned to the Bernabeu with hopes of a miraculous comeback, though the odds sit at just 8.3%. Should Arsenal advance, they'll most likely face Paris Saint-Germain, who narrowly edged past Aston Villa in their first-leg quarter-final. Aston Villa shocked the Parc des Princes by taking a first-half lead through Morgan Rogers. It was a stunning goal and a warning sign that PSG couldn't afford to let their guard down in Europe's toughest competition. But Paris quickly regrouped. Goals from Kvicha Kvaratskhelia and Nuno Mendes saw them complete a convincing comeback. Though Villa snapped PSG's 7-game winning streak across all competitions, the English side still has a mountain to climb in the return leg next week. In the stands, PSG fans held up a cheeky banner referencing the hit show Peaky Blinders, a not-so-subtle dig at Villa, hailing from Birmingham. The 3-1 win might look like a classic case of a superior side rallying from behind, but the truth is far more layered. Unai Emery's game plan was clear. Drop deep, stretch PSG's formation, and hit on the counter. Villa avoided their usual high press, relying instead on long balls from goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez. That strategy paid off when a careless turnover by Nuno Mendes allowed Youri Tielemans and Morgan Rogers to link up for the opening goal. But PSG didn't panic. They struck back almost instantly with a curling shot from Kvaratskhelia, nicknamed Neymar 2, a cool, clinical finish. This wasn't the PSG of old, overly reliant on star power. This team has young talents who know how to flip a match on its head. Their win didn't come from dominance, it came from execution at the right moments. They pulled Villa wide, then cut back into the middle to expose gaps. More importantly, they had depth. Every mistake had a backup plan. When they fell behind, they stayed composed and found a way to take control. That's the identity Luis Enrique has worked so hard to instill. As for Aston Villa, hope is still alive. The away goal, their resilience, and the element of surprise remain weapons in their arsenal. But to pull off a shock in the second leg, they'll need what PSG showed last night: ice-cold composure and the ability to strike when it counts. Football isn't just about the number of chances, it's about who makes them count. And last night, PSG did exactly that. This season's Champions League feels more like a blockbuster movie than a tournament. After the first legs, 2 of the semi-final spots are already taking shape, with 4 of Europe's top 5 footballing nations represented, all except Germany. But football is full of surprises, and the teams trailing after the first leg will be coming back with something to prove, or maybe even ready to flip the script entirely.